And we're now into week 2 here for our cold weather bats game of the week. Pleased to be joined now by Coach Bob Riker over at Brother Rice. Coach, thanks for taking a few minutes here with us today.
My pleasure, anytime.
Awesome. Coach, with Brother Rice and Sterling Heights Stevenson both ranked early in the season here, how is your team preparing for a matchup, like this right off the bat of a high caliber type of matchup?
Well, we started the season with Bay City Western right off the get-go, so we had to be prepared for them. So we're just trying to play as many good teams as we possibly can early on. The weather, obviously, you got to deal with. That's springtime in Michigan. So, we're just trying to get as much time as we can outside. We're playing again today against Detroit Western, and then, Stevenson tomorrow. Joe Emanuel does a great job. We play them all the time. Every year they schedule us, so it's always good for them to come on out. So we're always excited about playing, and they got a really good group of guys. I know they got the Leonard boys that I think are going to Eastern, and they're really competitive, and they'd play on any team of mine. So it's a good matchup, and we enjoy playing those guys. Get us ready for what we have to encounter in the Catholic League, and then obviously the state playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of touched on with the weather, given the cold weather challenges in Michigan. How has Brother Rice, with you guys having the ability to have a turf field, impacted your team's ability to practice and get out and perform this early in the season?
Well, I can honestly say that in the last, 8-9 years, we've had probably rainouts or games we couldn't play out there, and I can count them on one hand. So we've been very fortunate. Our outfield is grass, but it's got great drainage. So we've been able to get out, and we've been out every day this season that we practiced. So it's been good. So to stay out of the gym is always a positive. We do have indoor cages, so that makes it kind of nice. But we try to get out as much as we can, and having the turf field and the place here at Warrior Park makes it really, really ideal for never really having to cancel a game. So that's
right.
Good.
Now, with Sterling Heights Stevenson returning 8 senior standouts this year, you just kind of touched on a few of them. What are your thoughts on facing such an experienced lineup?
Well, yeah, they can play. And like I said, Coach Emanuel does a great job getting them prepared, and they know how to play the right way. And they're gritty. They play hard all the time from the first out to the last out. So, and that's what you're going to have to be, when you go into the state playoffs or even compete in the Catholic League Central Division. So, having that many veterans back, I kind of had that taste last year when we had 11 guys that were seniors last year. It makes it kind of nice. You don't have to do a lot of new teaching or anything like that. So we got a bunch of young guys this year that we've had to do some more teaching than we normally do. But they're very, very talented. And we've got a great nucleus of older guys that have been up for 3 and 4 years. So they kind of know what they're doing, and they kind of show the younger guys the ropes. So, but facing those guys that you said they have 8 returners. So
8 returners, yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to be ready to go. So it's always competitive, no matter what team they field or what team we field. So, it'll be another big test for us, just like Bay City Western. Bay City Western, had all their returners back pretty much. And it was good for our guys to see that. That's what you're going to have to compete against, come, May and June when you're in the state playoff run. So you might as well see it now. And baseball's kind of a unique sport. It's unlike football where everybody makes the playoffs. So your record doesn't mean anything. It's a whole new season once the playoffs start. So we try to, like I said, prepare each and every game that we schedule on our schedule to prepare for that run in the States.
Yeah. So obviously you've been with Brother Rice for, was it 34 years now?
So I started back in 1990. I think this is my 37th season.
37th season. Okay.
So I've been here a while.
Yeah, just a few years. So reflecting on all of the victories you've had in the championships throughout the Catholic League and things to that extent, and the one state title, what do you attribute to really the sustained success of a Brother Rice baseball program under your leadership?
Well, really, it's a couple different facets. Obviously, in order to win as many games as we've won, you've got to have talented players. So. And they're guys that are baseball players, not just guys playing baseball. And sometimes you get that in high school. But we got guys that come here that want to obviously develop and go on to the next level. So, having the talent that we've had you can be a good coach or a not so good coach. If you've got the talent, you're going to win a lot of games. So the talent level's been high, and there's been very few years where we've been shy of talent. The second thing is the assistant coaches and the coaches that we have on our staff. They're great at working with the guys. They're great at getting them better and developing them not only as players but as people. So those are the two main things, and I just happen to be at the top of the hierarchy, I guess you'd say, and kind of manage everything. But it's really the players and the coaches that I have around me. They're second to none.
You just, touched on it with the experience that you have, and really we touched on it a little bit before we got started here with your new recent appointment with the Royal Oak Leprechauns, being their director of baseball operations.
Right.
What intrigues you with a position like that really led for you to going into working with DJ and this team over there?
Well, DJ and I have a really strong relationship, and I run the whole complex over here that he owns, and he got involved with the Leprechauns, I think 2, maybe 3 years ago, and I know he wants to always give back. He was one of those guys that he and I are on the same page with. If a guy's going to take time out of his day in order to try to get better, we're going to try to help him do that, because we had somebody there doing that for us when we were players. So we're definitely on the same page there. So when and we let the Leprechauns use our indoor facility and our complex during the summer to train before their games and hit and do whatever they need to do before the game. So and I saw Deech pretty much every day in the fall when he was back home, and we got to talking, and he asked last year a little bit for me to kind of help out. They were short some players, and with being here as long as I've been here, and some of the coaches that we have on the staff, we have pretty good connections with coaches that kind of trust us. And if you're a college coach, you want to make sure your kids, where they're playing in the summer, they come back in the fall, and 1, they're healthy, especially if they're a pitcher, and 2, they're getting the innings pitched that they need and the at-bats that they need. So with our staff here and myself having gone through all of that, that's our number one goal, and we want to try to put a winning product on the field, obviously, and a very talented product. And in Southeast Michigan, we've got a lot of talent, a lot of talented baseball players. So I try to keep as many homegrown guys as possible. So if you come out to a Leprechaun game this summer, you'll probably see a lot of guys that were in the Catholic League or in the surrounding area down here in Southeast Michigan, from really good teams down here. So it wasn't necessarily intriguing. I mean, I knew, I've, like I said, having done it for 37 years and having played the best players or played the best teams, and having, a pretty good talented pool of players myself, it was pretty easy to formulate a roster for guys that you think will be competitive. So it's kind of cool being on the other side, and by no means do I want to coach 72 games in 76 days. So
Right.
I'm like, my coaching in the summer is pretty much over, but I would help him put together a roster. So that's kind of how that came about, and it's been pretty cool. And again, it's not just been me. It's been, I got a couple coaches on my staff. Chris Faust, who was a former player of mine, played at Grand Valley. He's going to be the head coach. So he and I work closely with guys like my pitching guy, Mike Steele, to gather guys from around the country and around the area here to create something that college guys would want to come play at, with the facilities that we have, and the roster and the schedule. If you're a baseball player, that this is a place you'd want to play. So it's a good place. So it's been fun. It's been enjoyable. I want to continue to do it. So, but I do not want to be coaching that team at all.
Yeah.
The college guys wouldn't want to deal with a guy like me this summer. Summer's more fun. I'm a little bit old and crotchety. So, but Chris and the staff will do a really good job. And then we hired Logan Wood. I don't know if you remember him.
Yep.
From St. Mary's.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be the pitching guy. We are looking for a second assistant. So if anybody sees this and they're interested in doing what they need to do in order to be a college coach, so we are looking for a second assistant to help out. So, but it's been pretty cool just to be on the other side and formulate a team. In high school, you kind of get who when they come to your school. Here, right. I can kind of go out and go get guys that I like that have competed against us, and I like that guy or I like that guy, and so it's been kind of cool. So it's kind of these guys, I think, will have a blast this summer because they all know each other for the most part. They've all played and competed with or against each other. So it's going to be a pretty cool atmosphere at 13 and Woodward.
Yeah. Last question here, kind of going back to the game for you guys for this week and really for the Brother Rice season here. With the season underway, what's really the primary goal for this team in particular, and really how do you plan to build upon last season's performance where you guys had a fantastic year until the that last game there?
Yeah, this season's a lot different than last season. Last season, I had all the puzzle pieces. I knew what they could do. I knew where they would fit. You're just trying to keep them healthy and make sure everybody's getting innings on the mound and making sure everybody's getting at bats. This year, we had 7 returners, 5 starters. So I kind of knew up the middle where we were going to be from catcher, through second and short and through center field. But we've really had to work hard to figure out the corner spots in the outfield and the corner spots on the infield. The top end of my pitching staff is back, so I pretty much know what those guys can do. But we've always used more than just 2 guys. We're guys that I'm never going to overthrow a guy. You're not going to probably pitch a ton of innings every week. I'm going to do what you need to do because they're bigger and better baseballs ahead of them. So our upper part of the pitching staff is pretty much set. So I'm looking for those guys in the back end and those guys that can give me some quality starts when, our top 2 guys don't throw, and really trying to find some corner pieces in the infield and the outfield. So with that said, we got a bunch of young guys that are freshmen and sophomores that have been up and down. And we'll play a couple more today to see what they can do in left field and at third base and first base. And we're going to start a freshman today against Detroit Western on the mound, and we're going to back them up with 2 other freshmen. So we're just trying to see what these young guys can bring to the table and who's kind of ready right now to kind of do what they need to do. So it's more of developing the younger guys because I know what the older guys can give me, but I just need to find about 3 or 4 more pieces. So that's what we're doing leading into the Catholic League playoffs and then the state playoffs. So it's sometimes difficult to do when you're playing CC 4 times and De La Salle 4 times and St. Mary's 4 times, UD 4 times. And, now we got the Ohio school. So, they're getting thrown into the fire pretty quick right away. So we're seeing what they can do. So the older guys are kind of looking at me like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, hey, these guys got to help us. So we got to figure out what they can do. So that's my goal, is to give as many of these guys as much time as they can to prove who at the end of the year is going to be ready to go.
Well, Coach, I appreciate your time today and your the conversation and the insight. Best of luck today as well as tomorrow in our game of the week, and look forward to seeing you guys out this year.
I appreciate it, Michael. Hey, thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Appreciate it.